Joining me now to talk about Ron's ongoing implosion, David Jolly, former Republican Congressman from Florida, now no longer a Republican, and Anna Eskamani, a Democrat serving in the Florida House of Representatives. David, DeSantis doubling down on his slavery wasn't all bad arguments. They got some skills. Who is this appealing to, aside from the white nationalist segment of the GOP base?
Well, you nailed it. That's who it's appealing to. But it also demonstrates a character of Ron DeSantis that voters get to make a moral judgment over, someone who is looking for a silver lining in slavery. And I think it's clear at this point, Ron DeSantis is continuing his race for the White House, asking to represent white America. That is what he did in Florida when it comes to education and immigration and voting rights. He is saying, I want to restore white America's place in society. And I'm reminded of Lester Maddox, the governor of Georgia in the civil rights era, who rose to the governorship by opposing integration at his very own restaurant. But he made the argument, Mehdi, that it wasn't about racism. It was about property rights. And what we see in Ron DeSantis, though certainly he is not that discriminatory, is someone who is trying to use legal arguments every step of the way, nonsensical arguments, to deny equity. This war on woke, these anti-woke arguments are essentially his way of restoring the strength of white America and stopping equity in Florida and across the nation. At some point when that reputation is stuck on you, it's stuck. And I don't think he can get out from underneath it.
No, it doesn't look like it. I don't see a route back for him anytime soon, unless Donald Trump's legal troubles overtake him. Anna, awkward question for you. You are an elected representative of Florida, but I've got to ask you the question. He's running on this idea that we should make America Florida, and America doesn't seem to want to be Florida.
Well, Mehdi, I am born and raised in Orlando, Florida, as a daughter of immigrants, and I love calling Florida home. But under the leadership of Governor Ron DeSantis, America, you do not want to be like Florida right now. Not only do we have a governor, as David already mentioned, that continuously flames different culture battles, wants to divide us versus bring us together, but the cost of living in our state is so extreme that we have some of the worst inflation compared to other states. Rent is out of control. Utility rates are going up. And of course, we have a property insurance crisis where folks are becoming homeless because they can't afford to cover the expenses of their property insurance. And of course, we're experiencing intense climate that's going to create more extreme weather patterns. And we have a governor that's MIA, nowhere to be seen. So this is not a state that you want to replicate at this time, especially when we talk about just the exodus of educators in our public school system and the lack of accountability. We have government agencies that are corrupt, that are falling apart, and it really is not a role model for the rest of the country.
Anna, you mentioned the education system. Florida has approved videos from the far-right PragerU, the right-wing think tank, not an actual university, to be used in schools. Have a watch of a clip from one of their videos with a cartoon Christopher Columbus and see what he's defending. Have a listen.
In Europe, we draw the line at things like eating people and human sacrifice. Some of the native folks from where I just left do those things regularly. So, these people in your time who think it was a peaceful paradise are misinformed. Or lying.
Yeah, but what about slavery? You didn't deny that.
Deny? No. Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no?
Slavery is better than being killed, and everyone does slavery, say these videos that are being played to kids in Florida. I thought DeSantis said he was against indoctrination in schools. That's as close to indoctrination as I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, wholeheartedly, Mehdi. I mean, that's the irony, right? It's so much projection coming from people like DeSantis, where they say they don't want indoctrination, yet here they are pushing their own agenda onto our children. It's also important to stress that every culture war really is a class war, because what ends up happening is as you erode and destroy public education and put into place your propaganda into these systems, families with money will send their kids to private schools that are going to be teaching critical thought and real history, while public school kids like me are going to be stuck being exposed to this BS, for lack of a better term. And so it really is not only just wrong, but it's dangerous to the future of our workforce. We're not going to be competitive at a global market if this is the garbage we're feeding our kids in our schools.
Well said. David, here's how Ron DeSantis tried to justify not hitting Donald Trump harder on his indictments. Have a watch.
If the election is a referendum on Joe Biden's policies and the failures that we've seen, and we are presenting a positive vision for the future, we will win the presidency and we will have a chance to turn the country around. If, on the other hand, the election is not about January 20th, 2025, but January 6th, 2021, or what document was left by the toilet at Mar-a-Lago, if it's a referendum on that, we are going to lose.
So, David, Ron says he wants to present a positive vision and message for the future. A couple of days ago, he said he wanted to start his administration by slitting the throats of federal government employees, getting rid of them by slitting throats. That was the metaphor he used for mass firing. Doesn't sound very positive to me.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis is someone who rarely does anything out of conviction. He does it out of calculus. And what you're seeing is he's trying to calculate how to ding Donald Trump without actually dealing with the blowback from it. But that comment about slitting throats, I think, is a reflection truly of a bit of his political ethos, if you will. He is a very dark figure, the paranoid figure, an angry figure who makes Donald Trump, the author of American Carnage, actually looks like sunshine and roses. Ron DeSantis' campaign is sinking fast. The reset's not working. The one thing he has to his advantage is time. But he has to turn into a Republican economic leader, a traditional economic leader within the Republican Party to speak to that constituency. The problem is he can't. After the war on Disney and after everything he's done, as Anna said, to Florida's economy, which is now teetering, Ron DeSantis doesn't have another reset button to hit. This race might just be over before it gets started.
Yeah, it does look over right now, and I genuinely don't understand how he's going to pull back from these double-digit poll deficits, his refusal to attack Donald Trump, and his constant obsession with talking about the skills that slaves acquired all those years ago. David Jolly and Anna Eskamani, thank you both for your analysis tonight, and God bless you over in Florida. Lovely Sunshine State.